You know, when you've had an emotional outburst, and the reason you know it is because there was a behavior you saw yourself doing, whether you saw yourself doing it in the moment you're doing it or in reflection after the event. And you have this feeling of shame, embarrassment, humiliation. You're upset with yourself for having done it. And as you trace it back, you recognize there were emotions that appeared and showed up that you had a really hard time managing. Oftentimes, in emotional intelligence skill development, that is where the development stops. Is in the exploration, the person goes, oh, I missed the signal of the emotion and I didn't really know how to handle the emotion. And so this domino effect of behaviors and actions showed up. The depth of emotional self-awareness of noticing is more than just recognizing, oh, there's an emotion that shows up, and actually exploring beneath your own iceberg of emotion creation, things like your values and how those show up, things like your beliefs and how you attach meaning to what you see and experience, things like your past experiences, lessons you've learned in life, your perspective on the world. All of these things truly contribute to why, when, and how a toxic behavior, a behavior in which we feel shame, embarrassment, or humiliation or disappointment in ourselves happens. So, one of the things that is a foundational practice in emotional self-awareness is the art of journaling. And I have a lot of clients who roll their eyes the first time we talk about this, and rightly so. I mean, I rolled my eyes the first time journaling popped up as the thing I needed to do as well. I just like, oh, why do I have to write things down? And my own experience and a lot of my clients' experiences when I ask, like, why are you thinking like that? Why do you feel that way? It's like, well, it just feels weak. It feels like needing to write down what I'm thinking feels like I'm somehow weak or incapable of doing something. And I'm like, yep, that's exactly what I thought and felt the first time too. And then I considered maybe my definition of weak and strong is effed up. And so then I started journaling. And what did I start journaling? I started capturing these things like what just happened. I just had a triggering moment where I showed up in a way that was toxic to other people, rubbed people the wrong way. I'm disappointed in how I showed up. What just happened? What were the circumstances of what was going on? And I would write down the circumstances of what was going on and who was there and what was said. And then I would write down how I responded and behaved, what I did out of the event. And then the third thing I would start to do is I would start to like, well, what were the emotions that I was experiencing? So what was I feeling? And it's emotions plural because more than one. And then here is the kicker. The most amount of growth came from when I started to recognize what was I saying in my head? What was the record and narrative that I was playing? What was I saying about myself? What was I saying about the circumstances? What was I saying about the other people or person involved? And it is so revealing how what is happening in your narrative impacts what you choose to do and reinforces default emotional experiences based on context, environment, and people. Meaning how you can have a pattern response to the same situation over and over and over again because you train yourself to respond that way. But as soon as you start to interrupt your thinking pattern, you can retrain yourself to respond differently. But you cannot do that if you don't capture in your journal the things that you say inside your head. Because when you write them down and look at them, you are going to learn a huge lesson about yourself. There's a lot of things that you think that you don't even believe.